Chapter 1. The gentle pull of gravity. You feel it now, even if you don't notice it. A soft weight pressing your body into the bed, holding you close to the earth. It is gravity, the quiet companion that never lets you drift too far. Without gravity, you would rise and float away like a loose feather in the breeze. But instead, you remain cradled by the planet, as if the earth itself is keeping you safe in its gentle hands. Gravity is not loud. It makes no sound. Yet it is always there, steady, reliable, invisible. You can close your eyes and imagine it as a thread, tethering you to the ground, the oceans to their shores, the moon to its path. You notice how natural it feels, as though gravity has always belonged to you. It is the first force you met when you entered the world, and it will never leave your side. Breathe slowly. As you inhale, imagine gravity wrapping around you like a blanket, keeping you close, keeping you steady. As you exhale, imagine your weight sinking deeper into the mattress, into the soil, into the arms of the earth. Gravity holds more than you alone. It guides the oceans, pulling the tides to and fro, as if the sea is breathing in time with the moon. It arranges the planets into their orbits, keeps them circling the sun like dancers moving in rhythm. It even bends the path of light itself, curving beams that once traveled straight and true. The universe, vast as it is not scattered chaos. It is a web woven by gravity. Every star, every planet, every drifting rock in space is connected by its invisible threads. You can picture gravity as a fabric, soft, endless, stretching beneath everything. The earth makes a small dimple in this fabric, a bowl that keeps you here. The sun makes a much larger one, pulling Earth and its neighbors into orbits, holding them steady. If you imagine yourself stepping back, far away, you would see this fabric ripple and curve, like water stirred by hidden hands. That is how gravity works, not as a force pulling from afar, but as the bending of the stage on which everything moves. The scientist Albert Einstein once described it this way: mass tells space how to curve, and space tells matter how to move. You don't need to solve equations to understand it. All you need is to imagine a trampoline and a ball placed upon it. The fabric bends. Another ball rolls toward it, not because they are calling to each other, but because the surface itself has changed. That is gravity, not a whisper between objects, but the very shape of space itself. The more massive something is, the deeper its curve. The earth makes a dip in space. The sun makes a deeper one. And far beyond, there are stars and collapsed remnants that bend the fabric so much that nothing can climb out, not even light. That is where our journey will lead. But for now, you linger with gravity in its gentlest form. You remember the feeling of swinging in a park as a child, the rise, the pause, and then the pull back down. It was gravity that made the swing return, a reminder that Earth is always calling you home. You remember tossing a ball into the air, only to watch it curve back into your hands. Gravity stitched that arc, drawing the ball back toward you like a mother guiding her child. You remember standing near the sea, where waves crashed and retreated. The moon's gravity stirred those tides, pulling the ocean's edge forward and back like breath filling and leaving the lungs. Even now, the same thread that holds you is holding the oceans, the mountains, and the clouds. It holds the moon in its orbit, keeps the planets circling the sun, keeps the sun wandering through the galaxy. Gravity does not stop at the boundaries of Earth. It stretches endlessly, a soft hand reaching across the universe. If you drift outward in your mind, you can see gravity at work on grander scales. Galaxies spinning like whirlpools, each star locked into its spiral. Clusters of galaxies bound together, forming patterns like constellations drawn on an even larger canvas. All of them tied, all of them guided by the pull of gravity. It is humbling, isn't it? The same force that holds your body here tonight is the one that arranges the dance of galaxies. The thread that keeps your pillow beneath your head is the same thread that pulls black holes into being. Gravity is patient. It can take millions, even billions of years to show its deeper wonders, but it never ceases, never tires, never releases its hold. And so, when a star burns through its last reserves of fuel, when its light begins to dim, gravity is waiting. It tightens its grip. It draws the star inward, layer by layer, until something extraordinary begins. Stars live and die under gravity's watchful eye. Some fade gently, leaving behind white embers called dwarf stars. Others collapse with sudden violence, exploding as supernova. And in some cases, when the star is massive enough, gravity becomes unstoppable. It pulls and pulls until nothing can withstand it. This is the threshold where black holes are born, where gravity's embrace grows so strong that even starlight cannot escape, but that is for later in the journey. For now, you rest in the calm. You stay with the simple comfort of gravity's pull, as familiar as breath, as steady as your heartbeat. Gravity is the beginning. Gravity is the thread that will lead you forward, deeper into the mysteries that wait. And as you drift, you sense a question forming. If gravity can hold you so gently here on Earth, what happens when it presses too tightly, when a star can no longer resist its pull? Chapter 2. The Lives of Dying Stars. When you look up at the night sky, you see pinpricks of light scattered across the darkness. But those stars are not fixed, unchanging lanterns. They are living things, not alive as you are, but alive. In their rhythm, in their growth, in their decline. Each one has a story, a beginning and an ending, written across billions of years. It begins in a cradle of dust and gas. Picture a great cosmic cloud, vast, silent, and filled with invisible possibility. Within that cloud, gravity whispers. It gathers particles together, pulling them closer, closer still, until a knot of matter forms. As the knot grows, its weight increases, and gravity presses harder. The pressure builds until the atoms themselves begin to fuse. This is the birth of a star. The moment when cold gas ignites into fire, when darkness blooms into light. Hydrogen atoms, the simplest, most common particles in the universe, join to form helium, releasing energy with every fusion. And that energy radiates outward, shining across the void. You can imagine it as a balance. Gravity is always pulling inward, trying to collapse the star, but the heat of fusion pushes outward, resisting the fall. The star exists in this quiet tension, a tug-of-war that can last millions or billions of years. For most of its life, a star is steady. It shines without hurry, without faltering, like a candle that never flickers. Our sun is in this stage now, a middle-aged star, glowing, with quiet patience. It will remain this way for billions of years more, constant in its warmth. But no star lasts forever. Even the most patient fires must eventually consume their fuel. And when hydrogen runs thin, the balance shifts. Gravity begins to win. The changes are subtle at first. The star swells, its outer layers expanding, glowing red and enormous. It becomes a red giant, vast enough to swallow nearby planets if they stray too close. The fire inside grows more chaotic as helium begins to fuse into heavier elements, carbon, oxygen, and beyond. The star struggles, fighting against its own collapse with whatever fuel it can still burn. For stars, like our sun, this struggle ends gently. The outer layers drift away, forming a soft, glowing shell called a planetary nebula. At the center remains a small, dense ember, a white dwarf. It no longer burns with fusion, but it glows faintly, slowly cooling over time. These are quiet deaths, like candles extinguished not with a sudden gust, but with a slow sigh, but larger. Stars, far larger than our sun, meet a different fate. When their fuel runs low, gravity's grip is far stronger. The collapse is fierce. The core shrinks and tightens until it can shrink no further, while the outer layers rush inward. Then, with explosive force, the star rebounds, blasting its outer shells into space. This is a supernova, a brilliant death cry so bright it can outshine entire galaxies. In those moments, the star releases elements forged in its heart: iron, gold, oxygen, carbon. Everything you are made of, your bones, your breath, even the iron in your blood, was once released in such explosions. You are, quite literally, the dust of dying stars. The universe recycles these elements. What one star sheds, another will someday gather. New clouds form, new stars ignite, new worlds take shape. There is no final end, only transformation. Yet for the most massive stars, the collapse does not stop with a supernova. The core is so heavy, so overwhelmed by gravity, that no force can push back. The atoms themselves are crushed. Electrons, protons, neutrons, everything is pressed together until matter becomes something stranger still. The collapse does not pause. It continues, deeper and deeper, until a black hole forms. You might think of this as the star's final secret. After burning for millions of years, after shining across vast distances, the star folds into silence. Its light vanishes, its form disappears, but its presence remains hidden, powerful, eternal. Even as you lie here, there are stars out there, in the darkness of space, reaching the end of their journeys. Some are fading gently, some are bursting in supernova brilliance, and some are collapsing into black holes. It happens slowly by human time, but in cosmic rhythm it is constant, unbroken. Stars are always being born, and stars are always dying. Think of it as a great cosmic cycle: birth in clouds, life in radiance, death in fire or silence. The universe is filled with endings, but also with beginnings born from those endings. Each black hole we will come to explore begins here, in this rhythm of stellar life and death. Take a moment to imagine yourself inside a stellar nursery, those vast clouds of dust and gas where stars first take shape. The light is soft, filtered through particles that scatter it into reds and blues. Everywhere around you, knots of matter are gathering, heating, preparing to ignite. It feels like standing in a forest of seeds, each one ready to bloom into fire. Then, picture the opposite, the end of a star's life, a giant red star, swollen and trembling, preparing to cast off its outer layers. Or a supernova, the sky split with brilliance, so fierce it turns night into day, if only for a moment. Or, deeper still, a star collapsing silently, vanishing into a darkness from which no light escapes. You rest between these two visions, the birth and the death, the beginning and the end. It is a reminder that even stars, which seem eternal, are bound by time. They shine, they falter, they fade. And from their fading comes the possibility of black holes. The story of black holes is not a tale of monsters appearing from nowhere. It is the continuation of stars' lives, the next step in gravity's patient work. Each black hole is born from fire, from collapse, from the surrender of a star too massive to resist. And so, as you breathe softly here, you can feel the connection. The atoms in your body, once part of a supernova. The stars above, burning their fuel patiently. And out there, beyond your sight. The stars that are right now collapsing into something stranger, something hidden. Gravity, from the last chapter, led us to this. It shapes not only your body's weight, not only the orbit of Earth, but the very lives of stars. And in the end, gravity does not let them go. It pulls them inward, past the point of return, into a place where new mysteries wait. Chapter 3. The collapse into darkness. Close your eyes and imagine a star at the height of its life. It burns with fierce light, steady and defiant, keeping gravity at bay through the power of fusion. For millions, sometimes billions of years, this balance holds. But at last, the fuel runs out. The light dims, the outward push weakens. Gravity, patient as always, begins to win in smaller stars. This leads to gentle fading. But in a giant star, one far heavier than our sun, gravity does not stop with fading. It takes hold of the core with relentless strength and begins to press. The core, once vast and hot, shrinks inward. Atoms are squeezed together until they lose their identities. Electrons collapse into protons. Protons merge into neutrons. Matter itself, once spacious and vibrant, is compressed into something denser than imagination. And still, gravity presses. There is no negotiation, no resistance strong enough. The collapse is silent. No roar, no scream, only the sudden tightening of everything into less and less space. For an instant, it is as though the star folds in upon itself. Its outer layers, no longer supported, rush inward too, colliding against the core. The impact rebounds, creating a shock wave that tears outward with explosive fury. A supernova bursts, scattering light and matter across the galaxy, but in the very center, behind the brilliance of the explosion, something darker is happening. The collapse continues, quiet and unseen. The star's heart shrinks further until it passes the threshold of no return. This is the birth of a black hole. You can imagine it as a trapdoor opening beneath the star. One moment it was there, radiant, burning, alive. The next, its center, has vanished into darkness, leaving behind a well that no light can escape. What remains is not the star itself, but gravity in its purest, most unrelenting form. A place where matter has collapsed so far that it no longer resembles anything familiar. A place where space curves inward infinitely, and time bends in ways we can scarcely imagine. It is important to pause here at the moment of collapse, not to rush forward, but to dwell in the strangeness of it. A star, larger than our sun, brighter than our eyes could ever withstand, has become a singular point of darkness. All that fire, all that brilliance, folded into silence. Think of it as a story written in reverse. The star began as a cloud of dust, expanded into flame, burned with radiant life. Now the story collapses back, not into the dust it came from, but into a mystery. The pages close, but the book does not end. In human time, the collapse is nearly instantaneous, but in your mind, you can slow it down. You can drift beside the star as it trembles, watch the outer layers fall, watch the center grow tighter and tighter. You can feel the inevitability of gravity's pull, the way it does not hesitate, the way it waits until the star has nothing left to resist. This surrender is both violent and quiet. Violent in the explosion that hurls matter into the galaxy. Quiet in the heart that vanishes without sound, slipping into a space beyond return. And so, from death comes transformation. What was once a blazing sun is now a dark sphere of influence, not visible but powerful, not shining but shaping. The collapse into darkness is not an ending but a threshold. It is the first step into the world of black holes, where the familiar rules of matter and time begin to dissolve. Pause again and let yourself imagine if the earth, with all its oceans and mountains, were crushed by gravity's hand until it became a black hole. It would shrink to the size of a marble, so dense, so compact, that even light could not escape its grasp. This is the scale of collapse we are speaking of, unimaginable, yet real. The universe is scattered with such remnants, some small, the size of a few suns, others enormous, millions or even billions of times more massive, lurking at the hearts of galaxies. All of them born from the same process. A star too heavy to resist its own weight, surrendering to gravity, folding inward. It is humbling to think that such quiet births take place in the silence of the cosmos. No trumpet sounds when a star collapses. No announcement rings out. A star that once shone for millions of years simply disappears, leaving only a dark well in its place. And yet, from that collapse comes possibility. Black holes are not mere voids, not empty spaces. They are new structures of reality, where gravity reveals its most secret power, where the very shape of space and the flow of time bend beyond recognition. The collapse into darkness is not destruction alone. It is a transformation, the beginning of something stranger than the star itself could ever have been. As you rest here, you can almost feel it, the weight of inevitability. The quiet, patient pull of gravity that holds you to your bed is the same force that tears stars apart. It is the same hand that opens the cosmic trapdoor, leading us into a world without light. This thought might feel overwhelming, but let it be soft. The collapse is not a violence you need to fear. It is simply part of the rhythm of the universe. A cycle of beginnings and endings, of fire and silence, of light and shadow. You are not separate from it. The iron in your blood, the calcium in your bones, the oxygen in your breath, all were forged in the life and death of stars. You are already part of this story of collapse and renewal. So when you think of a star collapsing into darkness, do not imagine an ending you cannot touch. Imagine instead a continuation of the same gravity that cradles you now, the same gravity that holds your body, your planet, your sun, is the one that leads stars to this quiet transformation. It is the same thread woven through small and great alike. It is one story told at many scales. The collapse into darkness is only one chapter. What lies beyond the threshold of collapse is stranger still. For when the star vanishes, it leaves behind a boundary unlike any other in the universe, a horizon you cannot cross. Chapter 4. The horizon you cannot cross. Imagine standing at the very edge of a cliff. Behind you lies the familiar world, the ground solid beneath your feet, the horizon open and wide. Before you, a drop descends into darkness, so deep you cannot see the bottom. You feel the pull of gravity urging you forward, but you remain on the edge, gazing down. Now, shift this image outward into the cosmos. Replace the cliff with the rim of a black hole, and replace the drop with something stranger, a boundary woven into the very fabric of space. This is the event horizon. It is not a wall you could touch, not a surface you could see. It is a threshold, invisible yet absolute, the point of no return. From the outside, the horizon is quiet. Stars still shine nearby, light still travels freely through space. But at the horizon, light itself bends too far, drawn inward until it cannot escape. Here, even the fastest traveler in the universe, a beam of light is caught and held. If light cannot leave, neither can anything else. Not a planet, not a spaceship, not even time as we understand it. The event horizon is the line where escape becomes impossible. Step beyond it, and you do not come back. Pause with this thought. The horizon is not destruction. It does not crush you the moment you cross. If you were to drift past, you might not even feel the instant it happens. But to those watching from outside, your image would linger, stretched and frozen at the edge. This is the strange trick of time near a black hole. As you approach the horizon, time slows from the perspective of others. Your seconds become minutes. Your minutes become years. You would move normally in your own experience, but to an outside observer, you would appear to hover at the brink. Never quite crossing, it is as though the universe hesitates, unwilling to let go of you completely. Your image would fade slowly, the light from your body growing dimmer, stretched into longer and longer wavelengths, until at last it vanishes. To those left behind, you are gone, but to you, the journey continues. Imagine walking across a doorway that others cannot see you pass. For them, you stand forever at the threshold. For you, you step into a new room, leaving their sight but not your own sense of motion. That is the paradox of the horizon, both frozen and crossed, both end and continuation. Scientists describe the horizon as a sphere around the black hole, its size determined by the black hole's mass. The more massive the black hole, the larger the horizon's radius. Some horizons are only a few kilometers wide. Others, those belonging to supermassive black holes at galactic centers, stretch across billions of kilometers. And yet the rule is the same. Cross that sphere, and no path leads back. The name itself, event horizon, captures this truth. Events that happen within it cannot reach beyond it. Their light, their signals, their stories are trapped. It is not a place of fire or violence at its surface. It is simply a line, invisible, absolute, final. Pause to let that settle. You are standing, in your imagination, at the brink of such a horizon. You feel no impact, no sudden halt, but you know what it represents. The separation between what can be known and what lies forever hidden. And yet, though the horizon marks a boundary of no return, it is not empty. It is alive with motion. Matter that falls toward the black hole often gathers into a swirling disk around it, glowing with heat as it spirals inward. This accretion disk shines brighter than the galaxy itself, sometimes outshining every star nearby. From the outside, a black hole does not always appear dark. It can blaze with the energy of matter struggling against the fall, only to lose. You might imagine it as a whirlpool in a great river. Leaves and branches are caught in the current, spinning faster and faster as they are drawn toward the center. At the very edge, the water seems still, calm, yet once across, nothing surfaces again. The event horizon is this calm edge of a cosmic whirlpool. Here, space and time are no longer separate threads. They are twisted together, stretched and warped by gravity's hand. The horizon is not just a place where light disappears. It is a place where the rules you know begin to soften. Think of time as a flowing stream. Near Earth, it moves steadily, carrying you gently from moment to moment. Near a black hole, the stream bends and slows, pools and eddies. At the horizon, time itself seems to stop, at least from the view of the outside world. And if time halts there, what does it mean to cross? What does it mean to move forward into a place where time is no longer shared, no longer visible? These are not simple questions, but gentle mysteries. You are not here to solve them tonight, but to drift with them, to let them carry you deeper. The horizon is not the end of the story. It is the opening of the next chapter. What lies within is hidden from all outside, yet your journey does not stop at the line. It carries you inward into a descent without return. Scientists still debate what happens inside. Some suggest that matter collapses all the way to the singularity, a point of infinite density. Others imagine that information is preserved in ways we cannot yet understand, painted on the horizon like a hologram. The horizon, then, is not only a boundary of space, but of knowledge itself. And here you are, resting at its edge, letting your imagination drift. You are safe, yet you lean forward in thought, peering into the veil. It feels like standing at the border of a dream you have not yet dreamed. Take a breath and feel the stillness. The horizon does not rush you. It waits, quiet and patient, like a door left ajar in the night. You do not need to step through yet. You can remain at the edge, gazing at the stars above, knowing that the pull will always remain, gentle and inevitable. For the journey through the horizon is not one of force, but of surrender. And surrender is the nature of all that crosses it. The horizon is the line that divides the universe into what can be seen and what cannot. And yet, even as it divides, it beckons. It calls not with sound, but with silence. A silence so deep, you cannot help but lean closer. Chapter 5. Falling into forever, close your eyes, and picture yourself stepping past the horizon. There is no jolt, no sudden change, no alarm to mark the moment. One breath, you are outside. The next, you are in dot, and then you are falling. Not falling as you know it on earth, not the quick plunge of a stone dropped into water, nor the brief drop of your body from a swing. This fall is endless, soft, weightless. It feels less like falling, and more like being drawn into a dream. Imagine an ocean without surface or floor. You drift downward, yet there is no bottom. The farther you sink, the less the rules of the world you once knew seem to apply. Time no longer flows as you expect. Distances bend and stretch. You are moving inward, and yet it feels as though space itself is moving around you. Scientists sometimes describe this with the term spaghettification. The word sounds almost playful, but what it means is strange. Your body, stretched by gravity, pulled more strongly at your feet than at your head. If you were truly here, you would be drawn thinner, longer, as though gravity was sculpting you into a thread. But tonight, in your imagination, this stretching feels gentle, not painful, but dreamlike, as though you are being woven into the very fabric of space. Around you, the world looks unfamiliar. Stars once bright in the distance now appear warped, their light bent into arcs and circles. The universe outside the horizon seems to whirl around you, smeared into streaks of color and glow. It is as if you are sinking into the center of a cosmic painting, every brushstroke pulled toward the same point, and through it all you continue to fall. The sensation is not rushed, it is not panic or terror. It is surrender, the slow yielding to gravity's embrace. Think of how rain falls into the sea. Each droplet was once distinct, separate, hanging briefly in the air. And then it meets the ocean, merging into something larger, becoming part of a rhythm beyond itself. So to do, you fall, joining the rhythm of the black hole, blending into its current. The fall feels eternal. And in a way, it is. For once inside, no force can stop you, no hand can pull you back. Your path is set, carrying you deeper and deeper, onward without end. What is strange is how time feels here. From the outside, it seemed to slow, to freeze. But from within, it moves as it always has. Your heart would still beat its rhythm, your breath would still flow in and out. And yet, you sense that your moments are no longer aligned with the universe beyond. You are falling through a private stream of time, cut off from the river you once shared. This is the mystery of relativity. Einstein showed that time is not fixed, but flexible, bending under the weight of gravity. Near a black hole, this bending becomes so extreme that time itself feels like a fabric slipping between your fingers. You reach for it, but it stretches away. You try to hold it, but it does not stay still. The farther you fall, the more the universe behind you fades. Light from the outside world grows dimmer, more distorted. The stars blur, their colors stretched into deep reds until they vanish completely. Soon, there is no outside left to see, only the inward pull, only the space that narrows around you. And still, the fall feels calm, like drifting deeper into sleep, farther into dream. You might think of this fall as a kind of return. All the particles that make up your body, every atom of carbon, oxygen, iron, once fell together from the heart of a dying star. They gathered into earth, into oceans and trees, into the body you know as yours. And now, in this imagined fall, those same atoms drift back into the gravity that shaped them. A cycle, a surrender, a return. It is difficult to picture what lies ahead. The fall seems endless, but the black hole has a center, a singularity, hidden, unseen. You cannot stop yourself from moving toward it. Gravity has taken hold, and its grip does not release. But do not rush there yet. Stay instead with the sensation of falling, with the soft surrender. It is not the singularity itself that matters now, but the journey toward it. The feeling of being carried without effort. Into the deepest silence the universe knows. As you drift, imagine again that cosmic ocean. Around you, waves of space ripple inward. You sink beneath them, not fighting, not resisting, only moving with their flow. Each moment carries you farther, but also deeper into stillness. Your mind, too, begins to quiet. Thoughts that once rushed like busy stars slow their orbits, fade into dim arcs, until only calm remains. The fall has a way of softening not only space and time, but also the weight of worry, the noise of thought. Here, in the fall, there is nothing left to hold on to, and that is its peace. You fall and fall and fall. The descent does not end, but it does not need to, for in this falling you are already arriving, not at a place, but at an experience. the experience of being held, drawn inward, surrendered completely to gravity's design. Somewhere ahead lies the singularity, the place where all this collapse converges, where matter folds into mystery. But for now, you remain in the fall itself, and in that fall you find something gentle. Not fear, not despair, but rest. Let yourself drift with it. Let yourself sink deeper. The black hole does not hurry you. Its patience is infinite. It carries you slowly, endlessly, into forever. Chapter 6. The Singularity's Secret Heart. You keep falling. The horizon has long passed. The outside universe faded. The stars behind you dimmed into nothing. There is no going back. Every breath you take carries you inward, deeper, farther, down a path only gravity knows. And at the end of this fall lies the singularity. The word itself feels heavy, almost final. A singularity is the point where mathematics falters, where equations break, where our understanding dissolves. It is the place where gravity crushes everything into a single, unfathomably small point, the center of the black hole, the secret heart. Pause for a moment and let yourself picture it, not as destruction, not as chaos, but as stillness. The singularity is not an explosion but a silence. It is where all matter, all space, all time is gathered into one point. One truth too dense for our minds to carry. The universe has rules. Gravity pulls, light travels, time flows forward. But here, at the singularity, the rules dissolve. What happens inside is not only hidden from us, it is beyond what our laws of physics can describe. You can imagine it as a painting blurred by too much light. The shapes fade, the lines vanish, the details smear. The picture is still there, but your eyes can no longer recognize it. So too is the singularity real, present, yet beyond what we can truly see. It is tempting to call it a point of destruction. After all, matter is crushed to unimaginable density. But perhaps it is more accurate to call it a transformation. What you know as matter, atoms, particles, even the building blocks of light are no longer themselves. They are folded into something else, something new. Think of a seed buried in the soil. From one perspective, it has disappeared, consumed by the earth. From another, it is only beginning, transformed into roots and stems and leaves you cannot yet see. The singularity may be like that, not an end, but a beginning you cannot yet understand. Scientists try to describe it. Some say it is infinite. Density, where matter is squeezed into zero space. Some suggest it is a hidden gateway, perhaps to another universe, perhaps to nowhere at all. Some imagine that quantum laws, those tiny, delicate rules of particles, might soften the singularity, spreading it into something more gentle, less absolute. But no one knows for certain. The singularity does not reveal itself. It is the ultimate mystery, guarded by the horizon, hidden within the fall. And here you are, drifting in your imagination toward it. Not in fear, but in wonder. Not in panic, but in peace. The singularity is not a place you can truly visit, not a place you can truly picture. It is more like an idea, a whisper of something that defies your ordinary sense of space and time. Still, you can let yourself imagine it, not with precision, but with feeling. Perhaps it is a still point in the center of a vast whirlpool. Perhaps it is a silence in the heart of a storm. Perhaps it is a spark, a seed, a doorway. What matters is not the exact image, but the sense of surrender it carries. The sense that beyond all the falling, beyond all the bending of light and time, there is a place where questions gather. a place where answers do not come easily, but softly, like shadows. And even though you cannot see the singularity, you feel its presence. It is the destination of every fall, the anchor of the black hole, the reason the horizon holds its line. It is the heart of the trapdoor. Pause again and consider what it means for time here. Outside the black hole, time flows forward as usual. Inside, time bends and slows. But at the singularity, time as you know it may not exist at all. The river you have always floated down may end, or loop, or fold into itself. Imagine time as a thread. At the singularity, the thread may knot into a shape you cannot untangle, and yet it is not frightening. It is quiet. It is still. It is the deepest calm the universe holds. The singularity is also a reminder of humility. No matter how much you learn, no matter how far you travel in thought, there will always be mysteries beyond reach. You are not meant to solve them all tonight. You are meant to rest in their presence, to let them hold you the way gravity holds you now. Take a slow breath. As you inhale, imagine the universe around you folding inward. As you exhale, imagine all that weight and mystery gathering at a single point. The singularity breathes with you, not as an object, not as a place, but as a rhythm, soft and steady. From here, the perspective changes. Step back in your mind as though you could. Look at the black hole from afar. From that distance, all you see is darkness where the star once shone. But you know, deep within, there lies the singularity, silent, hidden, powerful. It is a reminder that not everything reveals itself to sight. Some truths exist beyond vision, beyond touch, beyond grasp. Done so, you drift here in imagination, resting at the singularity's edge. It is not a fiery end, but a still beginning. Not a void, but a mystery. A reminder that the universe holds secrets you are invited to wonder about, but not to resolve. The singularity is the secret heart of gravity's power. It is where the story of a star becomes the story of a black hole. It is where collapse finds its resting place. Stay here for a moment longer. Feel the stillness. Feel the calm. Feel the way the singularity does not demand answers, only presence. And when you are ready, let your mind drift outward again. For while the singularity itself is hidden, its influence stretches far. It shapes what you see at the horizon, how light bends around the black hole, how the universe reacts to its presence. The singularity does not stand alone. It is always connected to what surrounds it. And so, the next step is not deeper, but outward, to watch how even light itself is caught in the black hole's hand, how brightness becomes bent, and how darkness can shape the glow of the cosmos. Chapter 7. When light bends and breaks, you have rested in the mystery of the singularity. Now you look outward again into the space that surrounds it. Here, the black hole's influence is not only hidden in silence, it is visible in the way light itself begins to curve. Imagine a beam of starlight, steady, straight, unbending. In the emptiness of space, light usually travels in a perfect line, untroubled by obstacles. But near a black hole, that certainty begins to soften. The path of light bends, as though space itself were gently folding it into new shapes. You see it most clearly at the event horizon. Some beams of light fall inward, swallowed forever. Others skim the edge, caught for a time in circles around the black hole before they slip away. Some escape, but not without change, stretched, distorted, colored into deeper tones. It is a strange thought. Light, the fastest traveler in the universe, brought to heel by gravity. It is as if the black hole's darkness choreographs a dance, and even light must follow the steps. Pause for a moment and picture it. Around the black hole is a glowing ring, a halo of light bent into a circle. This is called the photon sphere, the place where beams of light orbit the black hole as though it were a star of shadows. Here, light does not escape immediately, nor fall immediately. It lingers, caught in a dance that can last only briefly, before the black hole claims it or releases it outward. From a distance, this dance creates something beautiful. The black hole, though invisible at its core, appears wrapped in a glowing outline. It is a ring sculpted by the bending of light, a shadow edged with brilliance. In 2019, for the first time, humans captured an image of this ring. Astronomers, using telescopes scattered across the Earth, combined their vision to glimpse the unseeable. What they saw was not the black hole itself, but its shadow, outlined by the light it bent. A circle of darkness surrounded by fire. Proof, not only of theory, but of wonder. And so, you rest in this vision. A darkness wrapped in radiance, absence shaped by presence. It is like a lantern painted in reverse, not light illuminating shadow, but shadow sculpting light. The bending of light is not limited to black holes. Every massive object curves space, and with it, the beams that pass nearby. Galaxies, clusters of galaxies, even stars bend light into new paths. This bending is called gravitational lensing. It allows us to see galaxies too far away to glimpse. Otherwise, their light bent toward us by closer masses. But black holes bend most of all. They do not simply nudge light into curves. They capture it, twist it, hold it in orbits. They create illusions, where one star might appear as many, its light bent around the black hole in rings or arcs. You can imagine this as a hall of mirrors in space. A single lamp shines, but its glow appears scattered, repeated, multiplied by the mirrors around it. So too does light near a black hole, multiplied, bent, distorted, until the sky itself looks painted anew. The closer you drift, the more the distortions grow. Stars, once far behind the black hole, now appear to surround it, their light wrapped into glowing circles. It is as if the black hole gathers the whole sky into its arms, pulling starlight around itself like threads in a woven cloak. And yet, even as the black hole bends light, it also steals it. Any beam that crosses the horizon is gone forever, erased from the sight of the universe. It is strange to think that the brightest thing we know, light, can vanish so completely. Strange, but also humbling. For what does it mean when brightness can be shaped by darkness? When the strongest traveler is turned by silence? Perhaps it means that even opposites are not enemies. Darkness does not destroy light here, it sculpts. It reveals it, gives it form. The ring of radiance around a black hole exists only because darkness holds it there. One defines the other, each completing the other's story. Let this image stay with you. A circle of darkness wrapped in light. A shape born not from destruction, but from balance. If you let your mind drift, you might imagine standing far from such a black hole, gazing through the distortions it creates. The stars around you ripple, their light bent. You see not just one galaxy, but arcs and echoes of many. The universe itself seems to multiply, reflected through gravity's lens. It feels like peering through a window of glass, uneven and rippling, distorting the scenery beyond. But instead of glass, it is space itself that ripples. Instead of water, it is light that bends. And even here, in this distortion, there is beauty. A reminder that even in the deepest dark, patterns of brightness still emerge. Take a slow breath. As you inhale, imagine light arcing around you, soft ribbons of brightness circling in the dark. As you exhale, imagine those ribbons stretching outward, curving gently into the night. This is the ballet of light near a black hole, a dance where nothing is destroyed, only reshaped. A dance where brightness is humbled and darkness becomes a stage. You might wonder what it feels like to be a beam of light skimming so close, circling the edge of forever before slipping away. Does it feel like escape, or does it feel like being held? The answer, like the black hole itself, remains a mystery, but the question is enough. It carries you deeper into reflection, softer into rest. Chapter 8: The Whisper of Hawking Radiation. The black hole seems eternal. Its gravity is absolute, its pull unstoppable, its heart hidden behind a horizon no traveler can cross. It feels as though nothing could ever change it. But the universe, gentle as it is, whispers otherwise. In the 1970s, a physicist named Stephen Hawking suggested something radical. He proposed that black holes are not entirely silent. Though they seem to devour everything without return, they may also release the faintest breath, a soft exhalation of particles drifting outward into space. This is called Hawking radiation. At first, it sounds impossible. How could anything escape from the grip of a black hole when even light cannot break free? But Hawking's idea did not depend on breaking free from within. It depended on the strange fabric of space itself. You have already pictured space as a fabric bent by gravity. Now imagine that fabric not as smooth, but alive with tiny fluctuations. Even in the emptiness of space, particles flicker in and out of existence. They are called virtual particles, pairs that appear together, then quickly vanish, like sparks in the dark. Usually, these pairs appear and disappear so quickly that the universe barely notices. But near the edge of a black hole, the event horizon changes the story. One particle may fall inward, while the other escapes outward. What would have been a brief flicker becomes something real, a particle released into space, carrying away a tiny piece of the black hole's energy. It is like watching a candle slowly burn. Each moment, a faint trace of wax melts away, invisible unless you wait long enough to notice. In the same way, Hawking radiation slowly, patiently, causes a black hole to shrink. For most black holes, this whisper is unimaginably faint. The radiation is weaker than the background hum of the universe itself. If you stood nearby with the most sensitive instruments, you would not feel it, would not see it. But it is there, a secret exhalation, steady and quiet, that lasts for eons, and over unthinkable spans of time. This faint whisper matters. Bit by bit, particle by particle, the black hole loses mass. It shrinks, it fades. It dissolves into the same emptiness from which it first formed. Take a moment to let that truth settle. Even the most powerful structures in the universe are not eternal. Even black holes, those cosmic trapdoors of gravity, eventually release their hold. They sigh themselves out of existence. The timescale is almost beyond imagination. A black hole the size of a star might take longer than the current age of the universe to fully evaporate. A supermassive black hole, one at the center of a galaxy, would last far longer still. For now, they are steady, patient, unchanged. But in the deep future, when galaxies dim and stars fade, black holes will be among the last actors still present, and even they, at last, will vanish. It is a humbling thought. Everything changes, everything fades. But change need not be feared. It is not destruction, it is transformation. The whisper of Hawking radiation reminds you that endings can come not with violence, but with gentleness. Imagine yourself near such a black hole in its final moments. It has lasted for trillions upon trillions of years, swallowing stars, bending light, anchoring galaxies, and now it glows faintly with its last breaths of energy. The horizon shrinks smaller and smaller until it can hold no more, and then, like a spark winking out, it is gone. No sound, no explosion, just silence, deeper than before. But out of that silence, the universe continues. The black hole's mass returned as radiation spreads outward. Its presence lingers not as a shadow, but as energy woven back into the fabric of space. You might think of it like a life lived long and steady, finally exhaling its last breath. The breath vanishes into air, but the warmth it carried remains, scattered and shared. So to do, black holes give themselves back. Not in a rush, but in whispers. Pause here and breathe slowly yourself. Inhale steady and calm. Exhale soft and quiet. Your breath, too, is a kind of radiation energy moving outward, carrying warmth into the air. In this moment, you are not so different from the black hole. You breathe, it breathes. You release, it releases. Both of you are part of the same rhythm. This rhythm is what makes the universe feel alive. It is not only birth and death, not only beginnings and endings. It is the slow flow of transformation, the passing of energy from one form to another. Stars become black holes. Black holes become whispers of radiation. And that radiation becomes part of the wider cosmos once more. Even in fading, there is connection. Even in vanishing, there is belonging. Let your thoughts drift with that idea. The universe is not a place of permanence, but of flow. You, too, are part of that flow atoms that once belonged to stars, now shaped into your body, one day returning to the earth, to the air, to new beginnings. The black hole teaches you this lesson. Nothing is forever, and yet, in impermanence, there is beauty. There is comfort in knowing that all things share this rhythm, that even the mightiest follow the same gentle law. So when you imagine a black hole, do not think only of endless darkness. Think also of its quiet future, its long, patient fading. Think of it not as a monster devouring endlessly, but as a giant breathing softly, destined to rest at last. The whisper of Hawking radiation is the sound of the universe promising balance. It is a reminder that gravity's strongest grasp will, in time, let go, not in fire, but in size, not in fury, but in peace. Chapter 9. Black holes at the heart of galaxies so far. You have imagined black holes as quiet giants, hidden in darkness, drawing light and matter into their embrace. But black holes are not just solitary shadows adrift in space. They are builders. They are organizers. They are at the heart of the largest, brightest, most intricate structures in the universe. Galaxies, everywhere you look in the night sky, you see galaxies, swirls of stars, rivers of light stretching across. Billions of light. Some appear as spirals, their arms coiling like seashells. Others are more irregular, clouds of stars scattered without symmetry. But almost all of them, scientists have discovered, share one truth. At their center lies a supermassive black hole. These are not small black holes, born only from dying stars. They are giants, millions or even billions of times the mass of our sun. Their pull is so immense that they anchor the orbits of entire galaxies. Every star, every planet, every drifting cloud of gas, all of them move in patterns sculpted by the central black hole. Pause and imagine this. You are looking at the Milky Way, the galaxy that holds your sun, your earth, your sky. At its center, invisible to the naked eye, lies a black hole called Sagittarius A*. It is more than 4 million times the mass of the sun, and yet it is small compared to black holes in other galaxies, some thousands of times larger. It is humbling to realize that while you see the Milky Way as a band of stars above you, what truly holds it together is an invisible anchor of gravity. At the very heart of the galaxy lies silence, shaping the dance of billions of suns. You might imagine a black hole only as a taker, swallowing matter, devouring light. But at this scale, its role is also creative. It provides stability. Its gravity organizes the orbits, ensuring the galaxy does not scatter. Without it, the stars might drift apart, their spiral arms unraveling into space. In this way, black holes are paradoxical. They destroy, yet they build. They consume, yet they shape. They are both endings and beginnings. Look closer, and you find that black holes also influence how galaxies grow. When matter falls into a supermassive black hole, it heats up in the swirling disk around it. Jets of energy sometimes burst outward, stretching across thousands of light years. These jets may look violent, but they carry energy and materials that help shape new stars, regulating the galaxy's growth. Too much energy, and the galaxy slows down its star formation. Too little, and stars form too quickly, burning through their fuel. The black hole, in its silence, acts almost like a conductor, keeping the rhythm balanced. Think of a fire. Left uncontrolled, it consumes everything in its path. But tended carefully, it provides warmth and light, giving life to those who gather around it. The black hole is like that fire, not a mind with intention, but a force that balances creation and destruction. Pause here and lift your perspective higher. Imagine drifting far above the Milky Way, looking down on its spiral arms. You see the stars turning slowly, their orbits arranged in sweeping curves. At the center is darkness, invisible, but absolute. It is the silence that keeps the music of the galaxy playing. You can think of the black hole as a drumbeat so low, so deep, that you cannot hear it. And yet the rhythm of the galaxy moves to it. Every star, every planet, every orbit keeps time with that hidden pulse. This is not only true for the Milky Way. Look farther, and you see other galaxies. Each has its own anchor, its own heart of darkness. Some of these hearts are quiet, content to hold their stars. Others blaze with energy, their central black holes actively feeding, their jets stretching like spears of light into intergalactic space. These active black holes are called quasars. They are among the brightest objects in the universe, outshining all the stars around them. Imagine that paradox, a black hole, known for its darkness, becoming the source of the brightest light in the cosmos, not because the hole itself glows, but because of the energy released in the struggle at its edges, as matter fights and fails to escape. From this view, you see that black holes are not just hidden shadows, they are engines shaping the largest structures of the universe. Galaxies, those grand cities of stars, are organized by their presence. They are not intruders, but architects, and you are part of this architecture. The Earth circling the Sun circling the galaxy itself orbiting around its hidden core. All of it is part of the design. When you look up at the stars, you are not gazing at random scatterings. You are looking at a pattern held together by an invisible center. Pause again and let this truth settle into you. At the largest scales, order comes not from light, but from darkness. The stars shine, but it is the unseen black hole that holds them in place. There is a quiet comfort in this. It reminds you that what is hidden is no less powerful. That silence, too, can be a force of creation. That the most important structures may not be the ones that dazzle, but the ones that hold dot as you drift in thought. Picture yourself floating at the center of the Milky Way, near Sagittarius A*. You cannot see it, but you feel its presence. Around you, stars orbit like fireflies, each tracing its long, slow circle. The galaxy turns as one vast wheel, and you are resting at its hub. From here, you can imagine the scale of belonging. You are not just a person on Earth. You are part of a star system, part of a galaxy, part of a structure shaped by an unseen center. You are tied, through gravity, to the heart of the Milky Way, and when you imagine farther still, you see the same truth repeated. Every galaxy, every spiral, every cluster of stars is held by such a heart. Billions of galaxies, billions of centers, all woven into the larger fabric of the universe. Black holes, then, are not merely strange curiosities. They are fundamental. They are the seeds of galaxies, the anchors of order, the hidden architects of cosmic beauty. Let this realization soothe you. The universe is vast, but it is not chaos. It is connected, structured, bound by invisible threads. And you, small as you feel, are part of that structure. Your life, your breath, rests inside a galaxy held by silence. Breathe slowly and feel that connection. As you inhale, imagine the spiral arms of the Milky Way turning with you. As you exhale, imagine the central black hole steady at the heart, holding everything in balance. Chapter 10. The Puzzle of Lost Information. You have seen how black holes are born from collapse, how they bend light, how they whisper as they fade, and how they anchor galaxies. But now you arrive at a deeper question, one that has puzzled some of the brightest minds for decades. What happens to information inside a black hole? It may seem like a strange question at first. After all, when you throw a book into a fire, the book is destroyed. Its words are gone. But if you look closer, you realize the information isn't lost completely. It is rearranged. The smoke carries particles, the heat carries energy, the ashes carry traces of what once was. The book no longer exists in its old form, but the information it held is still somewhere, diffused into the world. Now imagine throwing the same book into a black hole. The paper, the ink, even the energy bound inside it, all vanish beyond the horizon. From the outside, nothing escapes. Not matter, not energy, not even light. And so the puzzle begins. Does the information within the book vanish too? At first glance, the answer seems obvious. Of course it is lost. The black hole consumes it entirely, leaving no trace. But physics whispers something different. For in the laws of quantum mechanics, the delicate rules that govern the tiniest particles, information cannot be destroyed. It may change form, scatter, or hide, but it always persists. This tension between the two black holes that erase and quantum rules that preserve is called the black hole information paradox. Pause here and breathe with the mystery. You do not need to solve it tonight. You only need to hold it gently, like a pebble in your palm, turning it over, feeling its weight. Imagine yourself standing at the horizon again. A star has fallen in, its light has vanished, its matter is gone. But what of its story? What of its structure, its composition, the arrangement of particles that made it unique? Has all of that truly disappeared, or is it hidden in ways you cannot yet see? Stephen Hawking once argued that black holes destroy information, that the horizon is a boundary beyond which even memory itself cannot return. This was troubling because it would mean the laws of physics are incomplete, that something we thought eternal, the conservation of information, may not hold true. Other physicists disagreed, suggesting that perhaps the information is stored on the surface of the horizon, like a cosmic archive. Still others wondered if the information leaks out slowly, encoded in Hawking radiation. Too subtle for us to yet detect, each idea feels like poetry. Information as shadow, information as whisper, information as echo. Imagine it this way. A black hole is not a vault that destroys, but a mirror that hides. You cannot see what lies within, but perhaps the surface holds the traces, like ripples, remembering the pebble that stirred them. This is the idea behind the holographic principle, the suggestion that everything swallowed by a black hole may be recorded, somehow, on its horizon. Just as a hologram holds a three-dimensional image on a two-dimensional surface, perhaps the black hole's surface holds the story of what has entered. Picture that for a moment, a horizon not just as a veil, but as a page etched invisibly with every particle, every atom, every photon that has fallen in from the outside. It looks smooth, featureless. But beneath that simplicity, it holds the memory of all it has consumed. It is comforting to think of the black hole not as a destroyer of knowledge, but as a keeper of secrets, not erasing, but transforming, not forgetting, but storing in ways we have not yet learned to read, and yet the paradox remains unsolved. Physicists debate, argue, test, and refine, but no final answer has yet been found. Information, does it die here, or does it endure? The question remains like a soft echo, unanswered but resonant. There is a strange beauty in not knowing. Science often seeks certainty, but here, at the edge of black holes, even the most brilliant minds rest in mystery. It reminds you that the universe does not exist only to be solved. It exists to be wondered at, to be felt, to be lived with. Let yourself rest in that uncertainty. You do not need to know the answer. You only need to feel the wonder of the question. Perhaps the black hole is like a storyteller, one who never finishes the tale. Each chapter ends on a pause, leaving you leaning forward, waiting for more. The silence is not empty. It is charged with meaning yet to come. Or perhaps the black hole is like a library with doors sealed shut. The books are still there, untouched, but you cannot open them. The knowledge is safe, but hidden. Or perhaps, and this is the gentlest, thought, information itself, is never trapped. It is like breath, moving, scattering, blending, always becoming part of something larger. The black hole, then, is not an eraser, but a redistributor, releasing knowledge in forms we do not yet understand. However you imagine it, the paradox draws you deeper into reflection. It is not only about physics, it is about memory. It is about the persistence of story. When you look at your own life, you might wonder, do your moments vanish, or do they linger? Every word you speak, every action you take, leaves ripples in people, in places, in time. Nothing is truly erased. It is transformed, carried onward, remembered in ways you may never see. And so, the black hole is not only a cosmic mystery, but a mirror for yourself. It reminds you that nothing is wasted, that even in silence, memory persists. Take a slow breath, inhale, and imagine the horizon etched with invisible records, carrying every story of every particle. Exhale, and imagine those stories drifting outward again, perhaps one day returning as whispers of radiation, faint but enduring. This paradox may never leave us. It may remain as long as black holes remain, as long as humans wonder. But perhaps that is the point. Perhaps the value is not in solving it, but in living with it, resting in the question, cradling it like a lantern in the dark. And so you linger here, at the edge of forgetting and remembering, at the line between loss and endurance. You do not know which is true. You do not need to. It is enough to wonder.